Now before we get into the skirting, I just want to explain to you what it is. Now essentially it's just a decorative board that goes between the floor and the wall. It just covers that gap at that junction. Now as far as the size go, it's up to you, but generally the skirting is one size larger than your architrave. So in our case, we've used a 90mm architrave and 138mm skirting. Now to work out the quantities of your skirting, simply measure all the walls of the room and just deduct any openings for doorways. And if your wall is longer than the longest length of timber available, you'll need to join it with either a butt joint, or even better, use a splice joint. I've cut my skirting to length here, and this back piece I've cut square up against the wall and up against the architrave behind me. For this long piece, I've got a scribe joint because we've got an internal corner here, and the scribe joint is perfect if the walls are slightly out of square. Now when it comes time to fixing the skirtings to the wall, you need to find the studs. Now the studs are the vertical pieces of timber behind your plasterboard. Now to find those, unless you're Superman and you've got X-ray vision, you've got a couple of options. You can use an electronic stud finder, or you can just tap on the wall until you find the solid sound, or another alternative is just mark the top of your skirting with the pencil. Just remove it and then tap a nail into the space until you find that position. Make sure you put the nails behind the line. One tip also, on the end here, chances are you're not going to pick up a stud there because the architrave will be covering it. So you can just skew a nail in at an angle straight into the architrave. Be a bit careful where you choose to nail your skirting. Just use this flat section here because that'll make it so much easier later when you fill it and sand it. Just work your way around the room, just take your time. Now generally you'll find the stud spacing is usually about 450 to 600mm centres, and by the way I'm using 32mm nails in my nailer. Well, the skirtings are all fixed in place. What I'm doing here is just applying a gap filler to the gap between the wall and my skirting. Then I'll need to fill my nail holes with a non-shrink filler. Then I'm ready for painting.